Welcome to another episode of Let's Talk Health and Home with Stephanie. In today's episode, I am joined by Rachael Harms. She's an amazing wife. She is a boy mom to Grayson, as well as a realtor with RE/MAX. So, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. Good to see you.
Good to see you too. I'm glad that we could catch each other before you take off for overseas.
Whirlwind trip.
Whirlwind trip. And you're taking Grayson?
No.
No. Okay, just the two of you.
Yes.
Awesome. And
It's
how
a
long?
vacation. Don't take your kids, right?
Oh, sometimes. All right, so I am so glad to have you. I appreciate everything. I mean, just the people that you have introduced me to and the groups. So I kind of want to just start off with the professional women's building group that you're part of.
Yeah, so
tell me about that.
it's a group under the Home Builders Association, the HBA of Greater Des Moines, and we got together probably about 4 years ago and kind of formed like a women's empowerment group that are all women related to the home building industry. So it's everyone from architects to designers to plumbers and electricians to sales and marketing. So it just kind of fully encompasses the home building industry, and it's a great way to support other women in the industry and recruit more women. That's a big goal for us, is to bring more women into this industry, because I think a lot of people get a little shy about considering a career in that field.
Yep, and I can understand that, especially if you go to some of those events, and a lot of times they're primarily men, and so just kind of having our own little niche as females. So if there's a lady out there who's in that industry and looking to join or to kind of come to an event, where can they find out where the next event is going to be held, or who can they connect with?
Yeah, so I mean, we have a pretty active Facebook page, so I would suggest following that first of all to get up to date like events information, but reach out to anybody that's on the board to get like we have member only events, and then anybody can come events. So if you want to become a member, you'll have to join the HBA, but you get so much out of it with the education and the camaraderie and connections that you'll make, that it's well worth it.
Yes, especially, and I think in the Midwest, it's crazy about how many people know somebody that you know, always crossing paths.
6 degrees of
separation. Yeah, for sure, right? That's how we met.
Yeah, for sure.
That's how we all met here today. All right, so next I'm going to touch on something a little personal.
Okay.
And I wanted to talk about Grayson's gifts.
Yeah.
So I'm going to kind of just give a little tidbit. I guess unless you want to share. You want to share what Grayson's gifts is?
Sure, yeah. So Grayson is my son, my husband and I's son. He is 6 years old, and we adopted him at birth. And going through the adoption process was very challenging. It had a lot of ups and downs, and after going through the process ourselves, we found out how little information was accessible, especially with the social media world. Like, everything's open adoption. There's like shared information. It just is a completely different process than when we grew up and knew our friends that we had grown up with that had been adopted. So we started Grayson's Gifts. It's a nonprofit foundation, and we have 3 kind of pillars for it. 1 is education, 2 is scholarship, and the 3rd is community support. So we provide financial resources to offset adoption expenses for Central Iowa families, and get to meet the babies and the little ones, and it's been really great.
It's awesome. I know last year I missed one of the big golf events.
Yeah.
So where can individuals find the upcoming events and fundraisers if they want to participate in those?
Yeah, so our website is www.graysonsgifts.org, and that's where we post all of our events. But yeah, our golf event, Grayson's Gifts Golf Classic. It's a long but that is our #1 fundraiser of the year. And I think, so Grayson's Gifts is 4 years old, and we've given out $75,000 of scholarships already for Central Iowa families. So it's a big deal for us, and we really enjoy getting to connect with other adoptive families and all the people that support our mission. It's been so phenomenal.
Yes, I definitely love the whole tie-in with something that you personally experienced, and then realized that there was a need, and then stepped up and really created a platform to help others as they go through the adoption process.
Yeah, thank you.
So, yes, absolutely.
It's a fun passion project for us.
Yeah, but Grayson will always get to go around and let everybody
We're
know.
hoping at some point he can, maybe run a golf event.
No, he's 6.
He's a good little golfer though, so we'll see.
Oh, well, hey, maybe I should have him,
on your team.
on my team. I'm not so good at golf.
Oh gosh.
So one of the things that I wanted to ask you is if there's a family out there looking to adopt, how can they go about getting on the Grayson's Gift list as a recipient?
Yeah, so we award scholarships once a year, and that the scholarship application is open all year round, and then we close it at the end of October and make those awards for the year in November. So if you just go to our website, the graysonsgifts.org, you'll be able to fill out the application online.
Okay, well, perfect. Well, hopefully those families out there will see this, and
we'd love to give out more money this year.
Exactly, perfect. All right, now for the fun stuff. Let's talk some business.
Oh boy, let's do it.
All right, so how long have you been in real estate?
This is my 10th year.
Ooh, kudos to you. Long time. No, I think I've got you beat. All right, so 10 years in the real estate market. Obviously, we've seen a lot of changes.
Oh gosh, yes.
So really, let's talk about this year, 2022. If someone is looking to purchase a home this year or sell their current home to purchase another home, where would you recommend that they start?
Well, the number one thing obviously is getting the pre-approval process started. So that is number one, because houses move too quickly. Like by the time you go and tour it and then go to get your pre-approval, the house is likely going to be gone. So you really, step one, need to reach out to your lender to get your pre-approval in place so that you're a strong and willing, able buyer.
Okay. Well, that's a great, thank you.
Yeah.
I would agree with her. She's a very, very wise woman. But, so much, now let's say that they get their pre-approval and they start looking for a home, but they have a home to sell. Yep. So what I hear all of the time is, oh my goodness, if I sell my house or if I put my house on the market, then I'm not going to have anywhere to live. I'll be homeless.
Yes. So there are several options for people in that situation. And experienced agents deal with this all the time. We will not leave you homeless. Between your lender and your realtor, they've got some plans and actions in place to be able to protect you from that. One of these examples potentially on the lending side would be something like a bridge loan, which is an option potentially depending on your financial situation. Again, you would talk to your lender about that. The other option is to list subject to finding home of choice, and that again is something that you would talk, that particular piece of the puzzle is on the agent side of things, but there are definitely protections in place so that you don't end up homeless.
Well, thank goodness for that, but it's a tough market when it comes to that.
It is tough, and it's hard to balance the time to sell with the inventory and the interest rates and all of that. So surrounding yourself with a good team is the number one.
Yes, yep, I agree with that. Just having lots of moving pieces and parts, and so taking advantage of those with the experience to kind of get you to your dream home.
Yeah, well, it's a big deal, so you want to have faith and trust in the people you're working with to keep your best interests at heart.
All right, so let's talk about your typical client. What does your typical client look like?
Oh, goodness. Fun.
Yeah,
right?
Of course.
Yeah. No, I think I have a lot of new construction. We have been talking a lot about this with the professional women in building and things, and a lot of people are finding that to get what they want in this market, they need to build from scratch. So I work with a lot of different builders and different areas of town, and I think to be truly custom and to get exactly what you want in a home, maybe new construction is your best bet.
Yep, I would agree. Kind of get to, if you can dream it, you can build it, right?
Absolutely.
Or it can be built.
Yeah.
Not something I'd be able to build, but I can definitely dream it.
Right? Pinterest.
Yes. Oh, I know. So full. All right, so let's talk about that process. So you decide that you're going to build your dream home. At that point, once you make that decision, and let's say that you've even spoken to a lender and you have your financing, so next, do they reach out to you as a realtor, or do they need to connect with a builder? What does that process look like next?
So first step obviously would be reaching out to a lender to get your financing in line, because that's going to be the number one important piece of the puzzle. Second step would definitely be reaching out to the agent. They're going to have a good questionnaire for you on what your wants and needs are in the home building industry. And from that, we can help narrow down which builders to kind of direct you or guide you to, because there are hundreds of great builders in the Des Moines area, but they're not always going to be a great fit for you, your budget, your location, your timeline. Having a new construction agent is going to be able to help mitigate some of those like big questions to narrow down that field for you to be able to find the great fit for you.
Okay. And so then in that particular case, instead of having that agent who's there, who's going through and, you know, looking for different homes to have you walk through, what is your role with that client as they are going through selections or that daunting process of putting it all together?
Yeah, well, I think a lot of my role with my new construction clients is a lot of hand-holding and to help guide them through the process, because I liken it to wedding planning. There's a whole bunch of decisions up front, and then there's like a very long period where your decisions have selections, everything. You're just kind of in a stall pattern. And then you get to the end and there's a whole lot of decision making. It gets very overwhelming for clients, so it's good to have an experienced person on their side to remind them what needs to be done, the schedule that needs to happen, and to go to these selection appointments and builder meetings just to have like a support system and to help keep them on budget and track and timelines and all of that.
Got it. So will you explain to us what is a selection and builders meeting? What happens?
Yep, selections is basically all the fun stuff you get to pick in the house. Anything from, you know, doorknobs to flooring to paint colors. Builders oftentimes will give you allowances for that, and we'll go shopping to figure out all of those things to pull all of your home together. So it's good to have another person in the background being like, hey, remember guys, like your lighting budget is X amount. We want to be able to kind of rein it in here a little bit, or you're going to be in overage. Yes. Things like that. Builders meetings are when we actually are meeting in person with the builder. So that can be for the initial plans and specs when we're designing the layout of the home, to the electrical walkthrough where you're picking where you want your outlets to be and your light fixtures and all like TV placements, all of that, to a trim walkthrough when you want to do customization with your shelving and kitchen islands and all that fun stuff.
Okay. All right. Well, all that sounds fun, but one of the things that I struggle with most when it comes to that is the visualization. So it's just seeing it all come together. Is there a certain type of like software or something that you guys do in order to help that client?
As an agent, no, I would say no. We don't have any software like that, but oftentimes the builder works with an in-house architect, or they outsource their architecture plans, so we do get renderings and things so that we have like visualizations to work off of.
Thank goodness. I would definitely need that.
Yes. And a lot of builders are very house friendly, HOUZZ. So you can go and look at pictures, and it's very much like Pinterest, but for home building.
Okay.
So that's a great resource as well.
Okay. So if someone's thinking about buying, is that something that they can go and check out prior to getting with a builder to kind of?
Oh, absolutely. It's great to kind of figure out your style, because that's also going to help determine which builder you go with. Okay. Builders have a very specific style they like to build in. So if you're somebody that is very interested in modern, you're not necessarily going to go to a farmhouse builder, or vice versa. Yep.
Nope, that makes sense. And then, so someone comes to you, they've kind of gone through that whole process and making selections and going through the builder, all the walkthroughs, and now their home is going to, they're going to have their closing date scheduled. So how does that look for you as the realtor with the client at that time? Because it's a little bit different than like, hey, here's the keys to your new home, or is it like that? Hey, here's the keys to your new home.
Yeah, so generally we work with the builder to schedule that timeline. So it's very much similar to an existing home. We get, about that 4-week window for closing. Again, that's when you're going to touch base with your lender to get all your final docs in. Yep. They'll order the final appraisal, make sure everything is good and locked up for that. And we will schedule a final walkthrough with the builder. And this is what is often referred to as the blue tape walkthrough.
Ooh.
So we go with like blue painter's tape and kind of spot the house with all, you know, like any little imperfections or things like that that the builder crews may have missed. And that's usually about a week before. And then the day before walkthrough, or the day before closing, we'll walk through one more time and all those blue tape marks should be gone. And
Perfect. That final walkthrough is still that final walkthrough.
Final walkthrough is still, and it's super exciting to see your entire house like finished and everything's like, you know, appliances are there, paint's done, floors done, all of it. It's kind of like it's just like a breath of fresh air. Like all this hard work has come to fruition.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome.
I love that part. And then the next day, or schedule, you know, whenever your closing is scheduled, we go and same as normal, you get your keys and
Off they go.
your moving truck shows up at your new house and
Hopefully.
it's yours.
That's perfect. All right, so let's kind of talk about that client just a little bit more in terms of they're in the process of building their home, and maybe let's say that they have the financial means, or maybe they've been able to do a bridge loan, and so they are building their home. At what point would you really recommend that they look to put their house, their current home, on the market?
Yeah, I think a lot of that is going to be market dependent. So having a good agent is going to be able to help like predict like the trends and like how quickly homes are moving. You know, whether it's a spring market or a winter market, like those can affect market conditions, of course. But again, having a great team in place, like, so you check with your lender on how long a closing would take. You work with your builder on how long they project your closing or the finished project to be completed.
And I want to stop you there, because do you think that when a builder gives you a time frame, like, do you kind of tell clients, okay, let's kind of go 2 weeks early, 2 weeks late, ballpark that?
Generally, so builders don't like to give firm close dates until you get to a certain stage of the house. And generally that's at a trim stage, trim walkthrough, which is about 4 to 6 weeks out from closing.
Okay.
So we do have a pretty good idea on when to work backwards from that point.
Okay.
And it just depends on, obviously, the client's situation. If they want to have their home for a couple weeks to be able to move slowly, or if they need to sell to move into their new house, we'll time that up. But yeah, generally, like I said, having a good team around you, they're going to be able to put in a plan of action in place so that your time for carrying 2 homes is very minimal.
Yes, yep. You don't want to be making 2 mortgage payments if you can help it.
No. Well, and you do have a couple months buffer with new construction.
Yep. Yes.
Or, well, any new home.
Any new home. So yeah, great point. And I always think of that, and I shouldn't say the closing date, but with new construction, it's kind of like the day that they tell you your child is going to be born, or it's a due date, right?
Yeah,
due date.
for sure.
So on this day, you're going to have XYZ happen, and it's like if you get that mindset and you're stuck with that.
You still need to have a little bit of flexibility
Yes.
in the back of your mind with that. But yes, generally, I think at that 4 to 6 week mark, you have a pretty good idea.
Yeah, give or take a day, but just don't get stuck on that one day. So, and I think if you go into it with that mindset, then
you're gonna relieve a lot of stress if you can have go with the flow.
Yes, and I'm always that person. So if you tell me that it's like, hey, you know, it's going to be between these couple of days, it's like I have to tell myself it's going to be the last possible day that you give me, so that I'm not like super disappointed.
It's always better to be pleasantly surprised, right?
Yep, exactly. It's like that. We do the same thing in the lending world. You know, I always want to give you a worst case scenario. This is what it's going to cost you for cash to close, and then when it's a lot less than that, then yay! I look like
Happy
I'm the winner. Nope, just lucked out.
Yeah.
All right, Rachel, thank you so much for joining me today. I appreciate all of the information that you have provided for those viewers who might be contemplating buying or selling a home or building their dream home.
Or adopting.
Or adopting,
yes.
Yeah, or
thanks
joining
for having me.
the Professional Women's in Building.
Yeah,
group.
absolutely. Either,
You cover
any
a
of those
plethora
things.
of things.
Reach out.
And I guess in a couple of weeks, they can reach out if they need to know more about Europe travel to Europe.
Exactly.
All right. So if they do want to reach out, what's the best way for them to contact you?
Well, my email is Rachael, RACHAEL, @realestateconcepts.net. That's probably the best way to
get a hold
get a hold
of
of
you.
me.
Perfect. Well, we'll make sure that we have that
Facebook.
information below for our viewers to reach out to you.
Perfect.
So thanks again.
Yeah, thanks for having me. This was fun.
All right.
I love your best.
Until next time, stay committed to your health and home goals.